Good evening, everyone. As I stand before you today, I'm filled with mixed emotions. This is not the story I imagined I'd be sharing when I first walked down the aisle 6 months ago. I thought that day marked the beginning of a fairy tale. Instead, it was the opening chapter of a painful lesson I'll carry for the rest of my life. I want to tell you about my journey, the mistakes I made, and the wisdom I gained. I hope my story serves as a cautionary tale, especially for young women who might find themselves at a crossroads like I once did. It all began on the morning of my wedding day. My mother sat me down, her voice trembling with the weight of her concern. She looked me straight in the eyes and said, "Honey, I don't think you should go through with this. Something about him doesn't sit right with me." Her words stung. I was angry, confused, and hurt. Why couldn't she just be happy for me? Why couldn't she see what I saw in him? I brushed her concerns aside, chalking them up to overprotectiveness. My fiancé was charming, attentive, and, to everyone else, the perfect man. But deep down, I knew my mother wasn't just being dramatic. There were red flags, subtle but persistent, that I had ignored in the name of love. You see, my ex-husband wasn't an obvious villain. He didn't shout, he didn't hit, and he didn't wear his selfishness on his sleeve. That's the thing about covert narcissists, they hide their true nature behind a facade of humility and charm. In the beginning, he made me feel special, like I was the only person in the world who mattered. But once we were married, the mask started to slip. His kindness turned into manipulation. His humor became cutting remarks disguised as jokes. He subtly isolated me from my friends and family, always finding a reason why I shouldn't spend time with them. He controlled my decisions, not through overt demands, but by planting seeds of doubt about my capabilities and choices. The worst part? When I tried to confront him about how I was feeling, he would twist the narrative, making me believe I was the problem. I was too sensitive. I was overreacting. I was ungrateful for the life he was providing. The breaking point came 6 months into our marriage. I was emotionally drained, walking on eggshells every day. I felt like a shell of the vibrant, confident woman I used to be. One night, after another argument where he deflected every ounce of accountability, I found myself staring at my reflection in the bathroom mirror. I didn't recognize the woman looking back at me. She was broken, tired, and full of regret. I knew then that I couldn't stay. Leaving wasn't easy, it took courage I didn't think I had. But with the support of my family, especially my mother, I walked away from the man I once thought I'd spend forever with. Looking back, the signs were always there. The way he dismissed my feelings during our courtship. The small but telling lies he told to make himself look good. The subtle jabs at my self-esteem disguised as advice. I regret not listening to my mother's intuition. She saw what I couldn't, or maybe what I refused to see. It's not easy to admit, but my pride and desperation to make things work blinded me to the truth. The regret isn't just about the failed marriage. It's about the time I wasted, the emotional scars I carry, and the toll it took on my confidence. But regret can also be a powerful teacher, and that's why I'm sharing my story with you today. If there's one thing I want every young woman to take away from my experience, it's this: love is not enough. Here are a few lessons I wish I had known before walking down the aisle. 1. Pay attention to red flags. If something feels off, it probably is. Don't dismiss your intuition or the concerns of those who genuinely love you. Sometimes, an outsider's perspective can see what love blinds us to. 2. Evaluate their character. Look beyond their words and charm. How do they treat others? How do they handle conflict? Are they consistent in their behavior, or does their personality shift depending on who's watching? 3. Value your independence. A healthy relationship doesn't require you to give up your identity or isolate yourself from your support system. If someone discourages you from maintaining your friendships, hobbies, or career goals, take it as a warning sign. 4. Test the relationship under stress. Anyone can be kind and loving when life is easy. The true test of character is how they behave when things get tough. Do they support you, or do they crumble under pressure? 5. Listen to trusted advice. If someone you trust expresses concerns about your partner, don't dismiss them outright. Take a step back and evaluate the situation objectively. To the young women here today, I want you to know that you are worthy of love that uplifts and empowers you. Don't settle for someone who diminishes your light just because you're afraid of being alone. Take your time when choosing a partner. Marriage is not a race, it's a lifelong commitment. Date wisely, and don't rush into saying I do just because society or your own timeline pressures you. And most importantly, know your worth. A man who truly loves you will never make you question your value or your place in his life. As painful as my experience was, I'm grateful for the lessons it taught me. It showed me the strength I never knew I had, the importance of self-respect, and the value of listening to the wisdom of those who care for us. To my mother, I owe a heartfelt apology. You tried to protect me, and I didn't listen. But your love and support never wavered, even when I fell. To everyone here, I hope my story inspires you to approach love with wisdom and courage. Love isn't blind, it's clear-eyed, intentional, and rooted in mutual respect. Thank you for listening to my journey. I hope it serves as a reminder that it's never too late to walk away from what isn't right and that the best love story you can write is the one where you first love yourself.